will be my final blow! It's you. You're right. Now's not the time. The victim this time is Nagito. Who in the world?
If he was killed for trying to... That traitor is obviously the...
No, that might not...
Huh? Wait.
Don't say something so stupid!
The killer didn't take... I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body...
It's because the killer
No, that's wrong! But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape. If he was being tortured for information...
I'm prepared! I just read
Trap?
Stupid Haji. Like you said, Nagito's mouth was taped. You'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, but that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him...
Allow me to cut through those words! No.
What did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth. The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before...
And the duct tape had a lot of... He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't... Then it's like I said at the beginning.
However, if...
They probably...
Then, are you... If so...
No, they didn't just... If not, they...
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred... Yeah. Which means...
The killer isn't one of us.
Even if it was only a coincidence.
Based on the pattern, we should suspect that some kind of... I do...
That's our Miss Sonia. Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks.
Damn right it is! The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the light.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw it based on the shape of that oil lighter. It can stand upright while the...
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible...
There should have been a way to tip it over with...
Or perhaps opening the door caused...
I agree with that! I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought! It was the wind pressure! A dust devil blown here from Gloria's Japan!
No, not wind pressure. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found. It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the...
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect? You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used them... So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were...
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse.
So the reason the warehouse was dark...
And one more thing. There was...
I see!
You're talking about the MP. That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse.
That's it. So
But those sounds weren't the only. Looking back on it,
so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma pen. And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
yeah. And that's how the warehouse caught on fire.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned
Because the panel was...
but the blocked doorway.
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem.
I see!
If the panel was so close to the door, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to...
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the...
Based on the...
You don't have to think so hard.
You don't mean... This is my answer! What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up?
He wasn't just the...
Huh?
Not just...
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? His body was covered in torture. Are you saying those...
But... Nagito might do something.
That's not even for a creep like Nagito. It'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're...
Ye-
It seems we need to discuss...
That's not necessary at all. To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one. Tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free... It'd be impossible if you were by yourself!
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs... is one thing, but tying both arms would be...
You couldn't do much with the... It'd be impossible if you were by yourself!
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and... No, that's wrong!
Hold on a sec.
What?
No, it shouldn't have been... The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up.
That was just burned by the fire.
It burned because of the fire. But that was part of the trap.
I see!
Take a close look. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't a burn like this, no matter how you think of it. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't...
Yeah, that should...
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want. Akane, you should not give it away.
That's definitely...
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about... I mean, even if his right hand wasn't... It's impossible to stab a knife...
Hajime!
Hold on.
Then hurry up and...
If it's something lame, I'll make you get back the Ben...
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it? Propped it onto...
If he just propped them, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand. Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it? Propped it onto...
If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand. Damn it!
Even if Nagito... his right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what? If he just propped them, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand. Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it up. If he just propped, he could have used his...
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand. Even if Nagito's... How could he stab his...
If he threw the knife and let the knife, could he stab his hand?
Is he a throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife...
I agree with that.
The life-size Monokuma.
Makes sense. That... He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains...
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he...
But for a moment,
A bleeding plushie is soup.
After stabbing his hand...
Probably thought the fire would...
so what?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his... The spear. If you think about the order, if that's true, he can't grab a spear with...
Then he probably took the spear first.
There, if you got penetrated by...
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated...
Say it one more time.
Hey, bastard, you better cut...
Like she said, in that condition, it'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab.
So you're saying...
But no matter what...
To think that one of us could kill...
You say you can't believe it, but that's why you keep getting
You just shut your mouth if you even think about doing it.
But it's just as... This might also be the same.
Then are you saying there is a killer?
Of course, that doesn't include Miss So...
As Kazuichi said, but even if I'm betrayed again, no matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer. But suicide...
Do you really think so?
But you said it too.
I did say difficult. I feel that there's...
What?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. That's how.
Everyone.
All right, let's...
How did Nagito stab him? Let's work together and think this.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left.
But his left hand was also...
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth? Or maybe he used his front tail? I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed. What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Here. Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagi, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left.
But his left hand was also...
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way...
He used his teeth. Or maybe he used his front tail. I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed. What are you...
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
How did Nagito stab him? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to... But his left hand was also...
Then that rules out his left hand. No, that's wrong!
Hold on. It's still too...
Why? I mean...
But there was something off about the bloodstain on the palm of his hand. He only had blood on the lower area of his palm.
When the blood splattered.
That settles the description of that. Look, there's blood.
Like you said, it looks like...
We might need to think, and if there's blood on his palm...
I see! When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a...
Was he grabbing his front Here's the thought!
Now that you mention it, he probably made his wounds mild on purpose.
But even if he held the spear with his...
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're...
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle.
Oh, I got it! Yeah, like I thought. However, what's in...
I see! That's it! Instead of the... There was a metal weight at the tip of the... Plus, the joint between...
Isn't the size of that cut-off section...
Ah, you're right! So, and then, the blood that was ended up getting on Nagito's left...
But why is it so important?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear...
That is where the clue to solve this... I am sorry. It seems we are
At a time... How about we stick to... the plan to think one...
That's a long plan.
One step at a time. Let's focus on the spear first.
How it was positioned... coming together! The spear impaled Nagito as perpendicular.
If Nagito did that all by...
That'd be awesome, but
Nagito probably slung the cord. He hoisted the spear. And if Nagito let go of the cord,
I noticed a slight red streak on...
the blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have been...
He... If someone else did this...
I agree. When I was investigating, why did the killer use the knife in the...
So you're saying he needed to use that...
Then he really... Every...
Not just that, he did... That spear should not... Which means Nagito wounded himself. Did he put the duct tape?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him...
That's beyond...
He was probably trying to... by committing a suicide that looked like a murder.
Did he want us to die?
That's messed up.
Yeah, that's our Nagito.
However, there was one thing whatever became of...
It was probably planned.
So why did he not just do... If he had no qualms with killing everyone...
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could...
He tried to make us doubt each other.
Did he cause a bomb scare for...
He's a fucking bastard who killed himself for his delusions of grandeur. It's...
You...
Yeah. It appears we've come to a Bastard Nagito committed...
That should... No, I agree that Nagito killed himself. It's probably just mine.
So what are you gonna do?
What do you think, Akane?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito... You are right.
Then that means we're done with this last class. It's okay to read such a
Then it's okay? Understood.
No,
Hold on.
sorry, just a little more. I can't help but feel like...
Like who the
But the issue here is who killed Nagi.
That's true, but...
The mystery isn't just about... No matter how you look at it, I'm a little worried, you know?
Hey, what do you mean it's...
There's just one thing that does... Plus, it's something even Nagito could...
You're gonna keep going?
We will never give up!
I see!
Is it about the Monaco?
Yeah,
Huh? There...
In this particular case, is Monokuma.
Isn't that weird? But the cause of the spear in Nagito's stomach.
Maybe it's not included if it's...
Well, I plead the...
There he goes again!
But even during the thing he purposely omitted from the
Are you saying that applies?
Hold on, are you suggesting again?
You guys were the ones who said it was a...
No, I don't think it's a but. It's not. Come to think of it, did Nagito really?
Are you sticking up for
That's not what I meant.
bad sense?
I just remembered that his malice... For example, would that Did Nagito's malice drive him to risk his life for... I mean, this is Nagito...
Because you believe in his I see. I guess that...
What friendship?
What should we do, you guys? I think we should keep going until...
You were right.
Just to be safe.
This is friggin' annoying. But if you guys say you're doing it...
Hey, Monokuma!
We've come this far. That's what I...
Oh, splendid. That's right.
No!
Anyway, everyone is united against Jack.
So if we're working together, where do we...
Why don't we try removing all our... In the beginning, it's better to confirm if the...
Other possible...
If something other than...
That was definite...
If you think the cuts on...
Are we
I feel like...